Hello, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? I did not plan on making a video for you today, but Warner Brothers just released the second trailer for the second Dune movie. If you can't tell, via my Chris Knife movie accurate 1-to-1 replica, I am a Dune super fan. And behind me, I have every single Dune book ever published, including the Brian Herbert ones, on that shelf. And on that glass case there, I have a first edition of Chapter House Dune. And I have this Chris Knife, and I'm obsessed with Dune. It's one of my favorite book series ever. One of my favorite movies ever. Actually, not true. But I love the movie a lot, but I love the book so much more. And I cannot wait for this second trailer to the second film. So without further ado, guys, let's just jump right into it. Holy shit, I'm excited. Pressing play in 3, 2, 1.
This world is beyond cruelty.
Oh.
You've been fighting the Harkonnens for decades.
Oh, that's nuts.
My family's been fighting them for centuries. They were massacred alongside my father.
Your father didn't believe in revenge.
Oh, let's go, Jessica.
Believe in Fremen.
Let me fight beside you.
Reload!
Oh.
He said
I got that. Thanks.
I won't be fighting for him.
A deep, rich
Fighting for my
orange.
You young pup.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you believe in Paul?
There are signs. The prophet. Why is that a bad thing? Use it.
Because all my visions lead to horror.
Oh, the water of life.
Because you lose control.
Because I gain it. Johnny, do you believe in me?
Oh!
Paul Atreides is still alive.
Christopher Walken as the Emperor.
But this prophet.
Show me who you are.
Your father. Was a weak man.
Oh my Nelly.
Look who's back from the dead.
No, do what must be done.
Oh my god. Oh my.
Give them something to hope for.
That's not how!
And that's just like the shot of Paul
As long as I breathe.
from the first one.
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
It's not a prophecy. It's a story.
I don't care what you believe. I believe.
Oh my god. That is the best shot I've ever seen in my life.
Steve Atreides, Duke of Arrakis.
Oh my god, man.
He who can destroy a thing has the real control of it.
Bro! Low-key, they showed a lot in that trailer, and I don't know if I'd be happy if I was not a book fan. Okay, let's pause here for a moment. Okay, folks. Lots to take in there. I'm gonna mute this and rewind through some of that. That was fucking absolutely insane. Oh my god, that was a long trailer. Wow. Okay, first thing I want to talk about. Paul is going off in this trailer. Now I'm gonna do a little bit spoiler free. Okay, this shot of Paul walking with the worm erupting behind him, I've never seen anything like that in my life. That might be my new favorite Denis Villeneuve shot. Absolutely incredible. I do think, you know what, they actually, I don't know. Everyone kind of knows that Paul is on this become God arc. Okay, there's nothing I can really say without getting too spoilery about the visual. Let's just talk just purely about the visuals and technicals of this trailer. It looks absolutely insane. They're gearing up for a war. We're seeing a lot of action, revenge against the Harkonnens. One thing I love is the amount of color, because I hated the kind of bland. I know, like, they're in the desert and everything's so dry and lifeless and bleak, and the color palette was made to reflect that. But I'm glad we're seeing these kind of harsh, deep red-orange moments here. I'm really happy about that. Maybe that's dusk or dawn or sunrise or something. What else do we have here? Austin Butler looks absolutely incredible, obviously, in the gladiator pits. And the people he's fighting, very interesting look to them. They've got this sort of like stingray head thing going on in the background. Absolutely incredible. He's going hard in the gladiator pits. Paul's got the Duke ring. Chani with the rocket launcher is really cool. So, it's setting us up here. The Fremen are trying to eviscerate the Harkonnens and get back at them. We're seeing a lot of crazy hand-to-hand combat, and I like this armored up look that the Fremen have. That looks really great. But Paul seems like he's fully becoming a leader in this and really embracing that leadership role, and that looks absolutely incredible. Wow, guys. And then Paul speaking, and I don't know if the word would be Arakeen language or Fremen language, but it just looks action-packed. This movie is going to be nuts. And I think the whole thing is going to be very fast-paced like this. I don't think we're going to have the first one was very slow, and it was doing a lot of world building, and there wasn't a ton of action. This one I think is going to be extremely action heavy as they take the fight to the Harkonnens. I'm probably going to do a full trailer breakdown for this, actually, because there's so much I want to go over. I got to recollect my thoughts here, but I'm going to get this out to you guys right now. Then I'm going to take a step back, recollect my thoughts, and just take that all in. Wow. Perfect. This is going to be the best movie ever fucking made. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Quarantine Book Club. And my God, we're really going through these things because I've read a lot of books these last few weeks. Today, we're going to be talking about a book that has been definitely one of my favorites to read on this quarantine, and that is a book called Dune. It's kind of hard to describe what this book is about without giving too much away, but essentially, this is a story of a boy who is thrust onto a desert planet that is extremely deadly and contains the most valuable asset in the world, in the universe, called spice, which is essential for everyday life in the galaxy. And his family has been charged with the duty of overseeing the planet Arrakis, which contains this spice. And young 15-year-old Paul is thrust into a position of power and has to decide how he wants to lead the way on Arrakis. And my God, what a masterpiece. On the back of the book, and everyone else in the world, according to the publishers, will tell you that this is the greatest science fiction book of all time. Granted, I've read 0 other science fiction books, so as of now, I would have to agree. No, but for real, this story is incredible, and it is not so much science fiction as I would almost liken it closer to fantasy with a science fiction flair thrown in, because it has that kind of fantasy style of pitting families against each other, and it's a political thriller sometimes, and it's an action sometimes, and there's kind of religion and magic and prophecy that is all being foretold. And it's a big book, okay? It's a thick book. I think the total page count is 794 pages, and then we get all this extraness of maps, history, lore, and appendix that they just couldn't work into the actual narrative of the story. And that's the mark of good world building, when they've got that fucking big old section at the end of the book. So yeah, and this is being turned into a film by Denis Villeneuve, which will be absolutely insane, judging by the photos, because it looks so beautiful. And I can already tell that he's very passionate about the project because I've read so much of the articles about the production of this film. But enough about that. You want to hear about the book. I actually listened to an audiobook of this as I read it alongside the audiobook, and the audiobook was really, really good. So if you have Audible, I would highly suggest the audiobook. It's fully voice acted with a cast of characters, and there's music and there's sound effects, and there's really high production value, which is not in all audiobooks. And if you haven't listened to an audiobook before, Usually it's one narrator reading about it, but this, they have a full cast and music and soundtrack and score and all that. So it was really enjoyable to listen to the audiobook. But the story itself, see, I just don't want to talk too much about like what happens in it, because if you know nothing, it's so interesting. But it's essentially it's not young adult fiction, because I know like the big YA trope going around for the last, like, since Harry Potter is young person thrown into mysterious world about the age of the reader, and that's like it. This is not a young adult book. This is like some big brain stuff, if I'm being honest with you. And it's so like intricate and deep and thick. And like when you got a book this size, you better expect to be engaged in some good world building, some good lore. And the last 20 pages of this book are a dictionary, because the people that live on Arrakis, the natives, the Fremen, have their own language that they're always speaking and referring to things in. So it's really cool to read along and be like, what is a Gom Jabbar? What is a Muad'Dib? What is a Sayadina? And it's like, well, we're going to find out. And it's got such a mysterious and mystical vibe as this character, Paul, just explores this new world, because one side of it is like vast industry and the mining of the spice and the collection of the spice, and how deadly it is, because there are huge freaking sandworms going around tearing shit apart, tearing apart factories. But this spice essence is so vital to the world that they need to do it. So it's very industrial. But then you've also got this royal side where it's like, you know, castles and princes and lords and emperors. And then you've got the Fremen, who add this like really religious dynamic, who are like devout, and they kind of like worship the land, and they worship the sandworms, and they treat, and there is like there's almost no free running water on Arrakis. So that's like a huge point for the Fremen, and this big like narrative point of the conservation of water. And this book is extremely environmentalist as well, and they talk so much about the ecology of Dune. And there's even a little short story at the end about how they first started to irrigate Arrakis and try and get plant life on there, and how that was set up. And there's just so much to this story. But on the surface level, it's about Paul interacting with the world and people of Arrakis. But deeper than that, it's about struggle and conflict within a position of leadership, because young Paul Atreides, he has so much internal conflict in this book, and these fears of becoming a leader, and just everything in this book is so deep and so intricate. And I'm just going to keep talking in circles if I go on anymore, but it's a perfect book. It's flawless. I loved every aspect of it. There's not a single thing I would change. It's separating into 3 big parts. I did the last part like this in one day, because I was just so fired up. By the time I got to that 3rd book, I was just like, I was hooked in. I was just absolutely hooked in, and I was like, I need to finish this, because my goodness. And they describe it as a stunning blend of adventure and mysticism, environmentalism and politics. That's what Dune is. And you know what else Dune is? 5 sandworms out of 5. 5 Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides out of 5. It is perfect. I love this book so much, and the cover art is absolutely gorgeous. So I would obviously recommend picking up Dune, and I think you can buy the whole set. And oh, that's the best part I forgot to mention. There's like 6 more of these written by Frank Herbert, and then there's like 10 more written by his son. And according to the subreddit for Dune, they're all just as good as each other. So that's another thing. I've got so much more to look forward to, so fuck it, maybe I'll do the whole series. But man, Dune is just a masterpiece of science fiction and exploration of ideas and world building and lore. So check it out. And I'm about to sneeze. 1 second. Oh, maybe not.